As for other models they have coming out, they have the Pan American that they're releasing, which is their not really their first foray into a dual sport motorcycle. You know, if you remember, they did actually won the Baja 500 with Larry Rosler, and may have even been Malcolm Smith. I can't remember. I know Larry was involved with the project, but they won the Baja 500 on a Harley Davidson off-road motorcycle, which didn't really go anywhere after that, which is, you know, that's fine. But the Pan American is a, you know, from the few photos that are out there, is a decent looking machine. That's another one that I definitely have some interest in. I like motorcycles that do multiple things well. It's having the option to, you know, go ride up a fire road or a forest road is important to me. I like that. It's just opens up, you know, other avenues for you to ride. But like I said, it all matters of personal preference and all that. As far as Harley Davidson as a you know, standalone company, I really think their styling, their build quality is excellent. If you look at their paint jobs and, you know, the way that they finish things, just in my mind far above anybody except for probably BMW. But you know, you're paying, those are premium brands and you're paying premium prices for it, and I don't believe that, you know, to go out and have a good time you have to go spend $20,000 or $30,000 on a motorcycle. That's not what motorcycling's about. I believe that hey, you enter at what level you can, and, you know, hey, maybe what you can afford to ride right now is an old Sportster or a KLR 650. There's nothing wrong with that. I ride with plenty of guys that ride older motorcycles, and some of them have just found motorcycles that they absolutely love and are sticking with them, and some of them just don't you know, have the financial ability to go spend a bunch of money on something else. Hey, life's got priorities, and motorcycles are just the fun side of it. Some people would tell me that that's wrong too, but hey, after you've had kids and grandkids and all that, you just realize that you know, there's just other things that sometimes have to take precedence over your hobbies, and you know, that's exactly what this is for me. I will say that I do enjoy sometimes riding. A couple of my buddies have vintage bikes, and always fun to take a stroll down memory lane on some of those old bikes. It really is amazing how far motorcycles have come. And well, you could say the same thing for automobiles, but it is quite amazing where we're at motorcycle wise from where we were 20 or 30 years ago, and then in some of these motorcycles cases, you know, 70, 80 years ago. And it's pretty neat to be able to make some of those comparisons. It's, when you didn't know any different, well, that's just is what it is. But boy, there's nothing like these, you know, the stopping ability and the anti-lock brakes, and, you know, the far superior power and fuel economies and suspensions. That even the suspensions in the last 15 years are just night and day better than you know, than what I grew up with, and even better than, you know, many motorcycles that I've had throughout my life, you know, up until that time frame. So it's always interesting to see what you know, competition breeds with. You know, you have a number of motorcycle builders now, and some of them have come and gone and started up under new names, and it's just quite unbelievable to kind of see the history of some of these bikes, which you know, it kind of brings me. I'll put in a quick plug for the Harley Davidson Museum here in Milwaukee if you are ever here in Milwaukee. And I just say, even if you're not interested in motorcycles or don't care about motorcycles, the Harley Davidson Museum is such an amazing piece of history that it's definitely worth your time to go stop in there. And I think it's $15 to get in or whatever, but you could easily spend the better part of a day in there checking out the different generations of these motorcycles. It's pretty crazy. Pretty funny after all those years that, you know, we're still with this V-twin and you know, obviously very refined compared to what they have had. Some would say it's still an archaic motor that you know was designed, you know, back in 1930, which it is, but it's still you know, just the fact that it is simple and works, and I like the high torque style delivery that it has. It's a lot of fun to ride, and it's yeah, like I said, it's not everybody's end-all dream bike by any stretch, and I fully get that, but it still is. They're definitely high on my list of motorcycles that were just super fun to take out and go buzz around through town or out of town or road trip. I've had excellent luck with Harley Davidsons as far as reliability, and I tell you, we had one of the guys that rode up here from the west for the Harley Davidson 115th had 270,000 miles on his 2009 Road King, and original motor, original transmission. I don't know too many bikes that have done that. I know that the BMW riders will stake a flag in the ground and say, hey, nobody is as reliable as BMW, and they're right. That is that boxer engine especially is a well-proven motor, but again, a motor designed many years ago and gone through eons and gone through many refinements, and I just think that any time that you have that much time and miles on a particular design, you just get it dialed in, and you can make them last a long time. Like I said, I don't know what, I haven't looked up or don't know what the actual record is for how many miles ridden on a specific engine transmission combination on a motorcycle, but I don't know how you'd top that particular one. And he says his bike is still running strong. He rode with us all weekend, and then actually rode it back to the west, which was another 1,700 or 1,800 miles. So I was shocked. Now he has gone through, you know, of course, a number of parts and tires and brakes and all that, but as I remember, he'd gone through, he'd had a few electrical issues. I can't remember specifically what they were. They were parts wearing out, but like I said, that by anybody's comparison, boy, that really says a lot. I mean, you know, obviously the guy knows how to take care of his motorcycle and rides it well and all that, but that's a pretty impossible amount of miles on a, you know, on those parts. That's I'd probably bet you that even Harley Davidson would be shocked about how many miles that guy has. But anyways, a couple other exciting things that I saw at the show. That FXDR 114 is a neat bike. It looks a little like a hot-rodded Fat Bob, of which you saw Addison ride, you know, just a few weeks ago, and that video I just published a short time ago. But that Fat Bob 114 is a pretty neat bike. I just got to say, it's probably got as much or more power than my Screaming Eagle CVO 110. Smooth running bike. The Milwaukee 8 is definitely an improvement over the Rushmore bikes, and I think that you know, it's definitely something to consider if that's the style of bike that you like riding. It's pretty similar. Well, I shouldn't say it's pretty similar. Let's just say it's fairly similar to a Breakout. It's the same genre of bike. It's a cruiser, a little bit sporty. I hesitate to call these hooligan bikes because they just don't really have what I'd call hooligan style power. They are you know, kind of a naked bike. If you take a look at what's in front of me here, it's, you know, really just a single gauge that's got attack, fuel, miles, and mile per hour, and actually does give me a gear selection number that we're in. Also, another one of the features I really like on this bike is the neutral and turning signals and high beams, as well as the oil dummy light, are built into the top triple clamp, which is really slick. I'll just kind of aim at it right there because that's a really neat design, I have to say. It's really cleans the bike up. There's, you know, it does look like you're just basically riding a, you know, a naked bike, and but yet you still have, you know, all the instrumentation that you'd have on a full dresser. I mean, obviously you're right, no stereo and that kind of thing, but with my Cena 10C, I actually have stereo playing in the background all the time. I turn it off while I'm vlogging, but because it does seem to cover some of my voice at times, but pretty interesting.